So we're coming up to the final stages of this kitchen. Yep. And today we're actually going to do the last bits to get all the trim work done, put the deco panels on, and then we're going to start working on finalizing the shelves for the coffee bar. But our son is coming home today, so we're going to do kind of a fun reveal. How are you feeling about that with him?
I'm very excited because when we Snapchat or when we're talking to each other, he's like, I keep looking at where you're at going, where is she? And then I have to sit there and go, oh my gosh, that's my house.
We're not 100%, we're probably 95% right now with the little tidbits, but it looks like a working kitchen. We've been using it. It's been awesome.
I love it.
So it's coming together.
Yes,
okay.
It is.
So another thing that we added to this kitchen was a filler in between the double stack. It kind of breaks up all the seams. That's just a 3x96" filler, white. Another element that adds more detail to the kitchen instead of just having that double stack. We see tons of kitchen that just do the double stack. It's just another addition to add a little more character to the kitchen. So it's something you could do or not, it's really up to you. We have BM8, which is base molding. Here is what it comes as. It has this detail. That's just preference. If you want to stick with the base molding that has a little more detail and character, or if you want something that's a little simple and modern, you can go with just a 6-inch wide filler and use that as your base molding. So a pro tip for trim pieces is I always use just a touch-up kit marker. So another reason why you should get a touch-up kit, but I just give a little color on those raw edges, just so when it comes together, instead of seeing, like if it's a tidbit off, you can kind of see that raw wood coming through, even though that's like a nice tight miter fold, the raw wood sticks through. So just a small thing to make all your miter folds look a little better, especially with a dark color. With white, it's not so obvious, but with something as dark as slate or our black, it's definitely a good tip to just give a little color in there, and then it'll make that seam look a lot tighter. With this piece of base, we can't really return it unless we wanted to have that removable. What we're actually gonna end up doing is just ending it with a miter fold return before. And the reason why you need this piece to be removable or not have a piece right here is the dishwasher needs to be serviceable. So you need to be able to pull this out. So we match that on both sides. That side's actually finished already. Someone who didn't think about that would easily just put a piece there. And then if you ever need to take this out, you'd have to rip the front and side piece off. This would overhang that amount, and now that dishwasher is not coming out. So with all my trim, I always start out with a 23 gauge, even with this base, which usually put in with 18. Start out with 23, get everything fully installed. It makes the smallest holes, and then if anything needs to be removed and shaved down, you're not gonna have those giant holes that you're just making a ton of 18 gauge holes. So start with a small nail and then get everything set. Everything looks perfect. Then go to 18 and do the final. Another thing I would recommend, especially for base and crown, is base is gonna get a lot of abuse. There's gonna be people that end up kicking these corners, hitting it with vacuums. So I would glue your seams, make sure everything stays together, because if you just nail them, it's way more likely to separate over time.
So one of the things Megan has been talking about is having kind of a little custom touch. As I used to do full custom kitchens, and now I work with Highland Cabinetry to do kitchens. When I'm doing my own work, I like to put a little touch of custom into it, and a lot of our dealers do that as well. So I took Megan up to a surprise shopping day to go up to a slab company, and she selected her own slab, walked around the warehouse until she found that right slab that kind of spoke to her. And she said, this is the slab that's gonna have some really neat coffee gear on it. It's gonna give it that touch of custom that kind of makes us all happy and makes Megan happy, because this is something she wanted to have me build. We don't do this at Highland Cabinetry, but a lot of our dealers will do little custom touches. So it kind of makes it that next level kitchen and gives it a little personality as well. So our old kitchen did not have a hood in it, and one of the things I wanted was a top-notch hood. So Vent-A-Hood built us a custom hood that allows us to actually take and put plates up here with plate warmers. So something that I had in one of the rental houses we had on vacation, and I always wanted it in my own kitchen. So you can cook, get a bunch of plates going, and then put your plates up here and keep them warm. Fantastic. We had an extra wide hood built with an extra light in it, and these plate holders. So fantastic hood by Vent-A-Hood. Thank you so much, Fine Lines, for making that happen.
Wow, it looks really good.
Totally different, huh?
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
All right.
What do you think?
It's lovely.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that looks really good.
came together.
Yeah.
So Dawson's working on the last little tidbits.
Ooh, these are cool.
So those are going in.
You got what she wanted.
And
The one thing.
The one thing you wanted.
The one thing.
Good.
But yeah, it's my favorite thing.
Highland actually sells these touch-up kits. It comes with a wax crayon that matches all the colors that we have. So it's always good to get one of these. It has a marker as well and some other little tools, but the wax is what I use the most. So at the start, just rub it on there, and then you really want to press the wax into the hole. So you don't want to just be on the surface, you want to actually fill that hole. And then with a kind of coarse, I use painter's rags, just wipe pretty softly. You want to just take off the top. With the 18 gauge, they're pretty deep, so you have to do it a couple times. Using the wax is a lot better than using silicone or caulk. I see a lot of jobs done with just caulk throughout, and then it never really looks as good as the wax comes out. Another good tool to have is just these plastic putty knives. They're only like $1 at Home Depot. And instead of having the metal, which sometimes scratches the surface, these plastic won't. You can really kind of rub it against it. I still use a rag on top, but this will help it get nice and flat versus your finger that has that kind of squish to it that pulls it out of the hole. And then for seams, what I do is I'll take a little butane torch, or you can do a lighter, and just kind of heat up the wax just a little bit. And then kind of just pull it down that seam. And this is just pressing it into the little gaps. And then I'll take the torch again. You want to stay far away because you don't want to harm the finish, but it'll just loosen up that wax a little bit. Move quickly, don't stay in one spot for too long, and then you can kind of just pull that wax off. That'll just wipe right off. So Highland Cabinetry sells these Deco Doors. They're on board, but what this is used for is to put on the side of the cabinets. So right now we have just this plain finish panel, but if you put this up there, it adds a nice detailed finish, gives it more shaker style. This is completely optional, but if you want to add a little more characteristic to your kitchen and detail, this is a good option. If you can't get to the back, you can nail or glue and nail with a pin nailer. But since I can get to these cabinets on the inside, I'll run a screw through the back to hold these on. So for spacing on these doors, I want to make sure this bottom is flush with the bottom of this door versus the actual face frame. So I want to make sure these are in line. It looks pretty good right there. And then I pull them a little bit off the wall, just about 1/8. So when you're screwing, you want to make sure you're landing in the style chunk. You don't want to grab the center panel because this is only about 1/4 inch thick. You want to grab the 3/4 inch styles. So just make sure you're staying mindful of where your nails are going, or screws. And I'm just going to hit this corner and this corner. Doesn't need much, but this will hold it in place. We're gonna do some on the sides of this island, something totally just preference, but gives it that finished look and adds that shaker look to the entirety of the island.
So we got your kitchen done.
Oh my gosh, you keep calling this my kitchen. Let's
It's
be
our
real.
kitchen.
It's your kitchen.
And it's probably more mine than yours, but it got wrapped up. What do you think?
It's beautiful. I love it.
Came out absolutely amazing.
Yes.
The cabinetry is far better than expected as far as the overall layout. The installation came out amazing. The guys in the shop did a fantastic job. Having all the additional storage, rollouts,
Yes.
all of that is amazing. So we're just getting settled in. Still have some
Gotta get
decorations.
used to it.
Yes. So
It's different.
So you got to stop opening up the pantry thinking it's the refrigerator because we moved some things around, but it is done. So we're excited to get after it. And we had the holidays in here,
Yes.
and we had the family over. We had multiple parties and events, and it went awesome. So glad to be done.
Yes, I'm so glad to be done. I know that this kitchen should have taken a lot longer, and we did it on super speed, and because their cabinets are made fast, and so Dawson could get in here and get it done, and
It's done, and
it's
a wrap.
perfect. It's perfect for me.
Glad you
I
have
love it. Yes.
All right, moving on to the next project.
No.
Okay.
No.